What's up, everybody? It's Jim with Reverb.com, Summer NAMM 2016. I'm here with, I guess, what I would call a master of tone here. This is Bill Finnegan. How are you, man?
I'm doing okay.
Good, man. And you can roll your eyes all you want, but that Klon right there says otherwise.
All right. You say so.
So, what do you guys got new this year? I heard that there were some rumors of something cool coming.
Yeah, it's just conceptually very straightforward, but something that a lot of people have asked me to do for quite a while, and finally I'm getting around to doing it. And what it is just a simple clean boost pedal, okay? So since the very beginning of Klon in 1994, one of the things that people have liked most about my units, first the Centaur and now the KTR, is just the clean boost function, which is the minimum gain setting. If you're not looking at any additional dirt, clean boost is a way to kind of smack the front end of your amp in a real organic way, and of course the unit has a tone control, unlike single knock clean boost. So it's just a really useful tool, especially if you're already like 90-95% of the way there to getting the sound you want, and all you need is just a little bit more signal coming out of the guitar and heading into the amp.
When you were building the Centaur, when you're building the KTR, when you're building this clean boost, are you testing it among multiple amps, or do you have a favorite that you go to?
No, I am really an omnivore in terms of amps and guitars. I've got everything under the sun, except for like super high gain amps, which aren't my end of things. But I love humbucker guitars. I like traditional Fender single coil guitars. I like P90s. I've got a bunch of cheapy guitars with very low output pickups, which parenthetically, clean boost is going to do very, very well with. There are all kinds of cool, cheap-ass guitars out there that have that something very cool and distinctive, but they don't quite have enough output, or in some cases don't have anywhere near enough output to really be able to get good results with the front ends of most amps. And in those cases, with anything that's got very low output pickups, the clean boost just works wonders. It really does, to give the front end of the amp, that first 12AX7 or whatever that first preamp tube is, enough signal so that the amp really, just has something to work with.
So this clean boost, does it have a name? Have you named it?
It does, and it's a secret. I'll let people know when it's out. Okay. It's a great name. It's a good name.
Okay, cool. And what kind of what kind of gain are we talking about in terms?
It's going to have the exact same amount of output as a Centaur or KTR have in clean boost mode, which is to say more than anyone would virtually ever need. All the years I've been doing this, which is more than 20 years since the Centaur came out in 1994, I can think of off the top of my head either 2 or 3 guys who have ever dimed the output under any circumstances, and those are crazy people, I have a thing for crazy people, and crazy people have as much right to, go about their business as the rest of us.
The note on the bottom about true bypass.
On the side, yeah.
Why do you feel like? I feel like everybody wants a true bypass switch on every single one of their units, right? I mean, why do you think that that's not necessarily? Is it just for this pedal specifically, or is it for all pedals true bypass?
I think categorically, I think unless there's a certain set of circumstances that dictate true bypass, which is the classic example is. Like an old fuzz face, a lot of those old fuzzes absolutely need to see a high impedance signal coming in. So if wouldn't strike me as a very sensible way of doing things. But if, for example, you had the output of one of my units, Centaur or KTR, going into the input of a fuzz face, that is one of the, to me, pretty rare instances in which you would go into the so-called almost always worst setting, which is true bypass. Because, again, that's what that pedal wants to see. It wants to see a high impedance signal. But I would say the great overwhelming majority of the time, you know, the buffer is the way to go. That's what
that's what I was gonna say. Is like I feel like a lot of people think of a true bypass and buffer to be the same thing, and they're obviously not.
Very different.
But I feel like it's all about preserving their tone through their chain, right?
So
but the buffer is actually probably going to be the best way to do that.
It
right?
absolutely will. Again, with you know, unless there's some very specific circumstance that militates against using it. So I think a lot of people, in fact, I know a lot of people are just not clear on what a buffer does. What a buffer does, in essence, is it converts a high impedance signal to a low impedance signal. In this case, the high impedance signal going in and going through the circuit to a low impedance signal going out. And what that low impedance signal does, the benefit that it gives you, is it completely negates the capacitive effect of the cable coming out of the unit. So you could run half a mile of the most nasty capacitive cable ever known, ever made, ever known, and basically all that capacitance just vanishes. And capacitance does a number on your highs, on your harmonic response, but also on what I kind of like to think of as your harmonic structure, which is not just the way the harmonics, just you know how you could measure harmonics on a scope, but the way all of the highs in a guitar signal fit together, both fundamentals and harmonics. So I don't know, that's a very complex thing. Guitar signals, electric guitar signals are very complex things. And if you're using a true bypass pedal and there's a significant length of cable behind it, you know, coming from the output of it, there's a lot of your signal that was originally there that's no longer there. So it's you know, I have to feel like I have to kind of keep saying this over and over again, but you know, I'm editorializing a bit here on the KTR. Obviously, you know, almost always better, almost always worse. But one of the big reasons, in fact, maybe the biggest reason that I put the switch on is I wanted people to be able to go back and forth in real time in the off position. Okay, you know, when the circuit is not engaged, and be able to actually hear, hopefully, be able to hear what the difference is and how much duller your signal is going straight into the amp, you know, what's coming out of the amp in true bypass as opposed to, you know, with buffered output. It's not a terrifically subtle difference as far as I'm concerned.
Played one, you need to play one. Definitely check out the Clean Boost on Reverb.com. It should be out shortly. Watch our blog. I'm sure that whenever Bill says the name of it, we'll post it almost immediately. We'll see you next time, Bill. Thanks so much, man.
My pleasure.
Cheers.
Take care.